Live around the world with Patrick Emery and Donna Kelly reporting. On one of the statements that you made in the tail end of the campaign, in midterms, that here we go, that, well, if you don't want this president, that this caravan was an invasion. As you know, this president considered it to be. As you know, this president, the caravan was not an invasion. It's a group of migrants moving up from Central America towards the border with the U.S. Thank you for that. Why did you characterize it as such? As I consider an invasion, you and I have a difference of opinion. Do you think that you demonized immigrants in this election to try to keep them? I want them to come into the country, but they have to come in legally. You know, they have to come in through a process. I want it to be a process. And I want people to come in, and we need the people. Your campaign, you know why we need the people, guys? Because we have hundreds of companies moving in. We need the people. Your campaign had an ad showing migrants climbing over walls and so on. But they weren't actors. They're not going to be doing that. They weren't actors. Oh, no, it's true. Do you think they were actors? They weren't actors. They didn't come from Hollywood. These were people, this was an actual, you know, it happened a few days ago. And they're hundreds of miles away. They're hundreds and hundreds of miles away. That's not an invasion, honestly. I think you should let me run the country, you run CNN, and if you did it well, you're ready. Let me ask you, if I may ask you a question, Mr. President, I may ask you
I think that this video is disqualifying or have no opinion of it. That's 60%, and that's what I'm talking about. He apologized, and most Americans believe in forgiveness. No, most Americans don't believe that it was. Excuse me. So just really quickly. I know that you all have a role that you have to stay on, but it's also not honest. We don't have to stay on it. Well, you're staying on it. The fact of the, well, I'm sorry, the fact of the matter is, Bill Clinton is not running for president of the United States. I'm not going to let you all continue to say that she allowed him. She facilitated. No, she didn't. And she, how did she facilitate it? She wasn't. No. Because it's not that. That's rape culture. Kelly, you're blaming someone who succumbed to it. Someone committing adultery on her. We're Christians, so let's talk about what that is. She was accused of facilitating it last night, and she was definitely silent. She did not deny it. But you know why? Because it's effing ridiculous, dude. It's so ridiculous. That's crazy. I can't believe y'all. I really can't. Meanwhile, Roger Stone is paying $2,500 of another victim, and that's what you all are going to be proud of? Bringing Paris and Martin victims? Is an egregious symptom of what is wrong with minds of all over America. I'm not jumping to conclusions, sir. I'm being factual, and you are dismissing it. And, you know, perhaps if you would actually speak to the heart of these things, we could get to the bottom of it.
Simone, let's get a point of clarification. Kevin, what are you disagreeing with exactly? Simone's argument is basically that, you know what white supremacists are about. You know what Robert E. Lee evokes. That's what they use for the basis for coming together. What is your point of disagreement exactly? Well, my point of disagreement is that that was an excuse to bring these groups together. The local blogger who got the permit to protest the removal of the Robert E. Lee statue then blew this up. That was an excuse. Look at that. And now someone's dead. How they got the permit. And can I finish, Simone? Will you just shut up for a minute and let me finish?
Pardon me, sir. You don't get to tell me to shut up on national television. I'm sorry. Under no circumstances do you get to speak to me in that matter. You should exhibit some decorum and understand that you are trying to defend white supremacy on this program, and under no circumstances will I provide that. So you can shut up.
You need a reset, Ken. You don't want to use language like that when you're talking to someone. You can disagree, but you don't talk like that on this show. You know better than that, getting interrupted. I know, but Ken, we don't tell people who you work with, right? You work with the car, you work with me, you work with Simone. 3 people of color. And Selena said, no. Let me get the point out. We are telling you that comparison was insulting, and you're ignoring it. Don't you think you should take that into consideration, whether or not you're trying to make a point or not, even if it's to the point that if I offended you, I'm sorry. Don, when I lived as a teenager in the South, and my dad lost his job standing up for a black waitress. You're not answering my question now. You're not answering my question in the moment. Don't take me back to some before the war crap. I want to hear what you're saying to the coworkers you work with now, Jeffrey. Answer the question now. I don't want to hear about stuff from 50 damn years ago. I want to hear now to the co-workers, to the people of color you work with on this network every single day who are offended by your remarks and not listening to us. Come on. This isn't right. This is not moral. We don't judge people by color in this country. That is racist as
Jeffrey, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Every single day I walk out of my house, I am a black woman, Jeffrey. I don't have the luxury of either color. Every single day I walk out of my house, someone sees me as a black woman, regardless of how I see myself. I'm a black woman. Don is a black man. Bakari is a black man. You have the luxury of walking out of the house and just being in American down the street. You do not have to think about it. And that, my friend, is a position of privilege.
These individual judges are overstepping. What you're essentially saying is that the president, who is the commander-in-chief, cannot determine when we are being invaded. An individual district court judge is going to decide that? No, thank you. Can I just ask a simple question? Who gets to decide whether the United States is at war? The president. No. If we're being invaded, I want the commander-in-chief. Scott, no. It's actually the Congress. You're asking if that's being invaded. I'm asking you want to call Congress and see if we're being invaded? Basic Constitution. We'll be taken over before they ever get to the Congress. Who gets to decide whether the United States is at war? The answer is Congress. I'm talking about if we're being invaded. The president says we're at war, he has to show proof, and really what he needs to do is go to Congress. You guys just know that people think we'll win in another 20 minutes. I thought the genius of our system was that we weren't beholden to one guy's opinion. That the genius of the American system of government was that we had 3 co-equal branches, and in those co-equal branches, decisions were made about how we go about doing things. Now, we want to tear that to shreds so that we can kowtow to one guy's opinion, then we are in a monarchy. We're being ruled. What's the distinction between strikes and whether the United States is actually at war with an entity or a nation? And there is a distinction. Now, nobody is saying here Trump can't deport people because, Barack Obama deported a lot of people in association. I deported a lot of people people, and he did so based on the existing law. It is possible to do. It is not applicable. As the go ahead, as a lawyer created by the has to be used at wartime when there's wars different than it was in 1812. We cannot use colloquialisms to say, oh, we're generally at war, we're not a country. It's not all bombing in. Well, let's be clear about this. We're being invaded that Trump every day. Well, Trump export people. He has the ability to import people, and he should, right? There was a lot of people coming in that should not be here. He has the right to do that. But he's trying to use this act to get around due process. And the court is saying this act does not apply. They're not telling him not to deport. They're saying use the process as the place. This act does not apply. As much bureaucracy and red tape as possible. No, it's not bureaucracy. It's not bureaucracy. This is the law. This is use the law. The law. I mean, look, is it such a big problem to say you can do things, but you have to do them lawfully? There's a process. We think this is lawful, but it's not. But the court just said it's not. The court said that it's not a stupid judge. And I want to see what the rest of them do. Why is it so stupid? Because it's disagreeing from everybody here. Donald Trump appointed this judge. I don't care. Again, I said this is a Trump appointed judge. He's not infallible. Judges make stupid decisions all the time. How about this? So you said the judge said, how do we know that the president is stupid? I'm sure that's your opinion. Well, it certainly is. And by the way, he won the election. So what does I don't think anybody's stupid. I think all three branches have the right to operate the way they want. I think the President of the United States has the right to operate based on his opinion because he's voted in. But the judicial branch has the right to interpret the meaning of the law the way they see it. That's their right. To make proof of a requirement. This process is a key question. What if another group of people, say not illegal aliens, but just some other group from somewhere else, actually came to the shores of the United States, not a nation, but say a group, any kind of group, and actually did come ashore and try to invade, I don't know what else you would call it, the United States, would you run to court and ask a federal judge if the President of the United States can we defend the nation now? Can we stop the... It is, they're coming across. No, you were almost generalizing here. You were talking about, yes, I agree with you. Scott. What's the difference? What's the difference? If there are gay members and if they're killing or raping women in this country, they should absolutely be deported, and there should be deportation orders, and there should be a process, and there is a process to deport them. You are saying that every person that is here illegally is raping people, and that is not true. Yes, you're saying they're all part of these gangs. They're invading our country. They're doing all these things. They are not. They are not all violent. And everybody, whether they are 2 years old or whether they are 90 years old and have been in our country the entire time, they deserve a process. The criminals, should leave. Because there is a law, there are laws and there are deportation proceedings to get these people out of our country. The 99-year-old who is here did not invade our country. Let me let you get a word in. Well, to me, like, the energy in defense of these gangbangers. I'm not defending them. I just said
came for the guy who beats his wife, and I said nothing because I don't beat my wife. And then they came for the guy who said I love killing Jews, and I said nothing because I don't love killing Jews. And now they came for the gangbangers, and I said nothing.
Can I say something real quick? You know why that triggers me? That triggers me because I come from a place where a whole bunch of people, they're American citizens, but they're thrown away. They're thrown away because they might have committed crimes, because they got in trouble when they were young.
Listen, I'm not... That they care about the gangbangers and not those people.
What I care about is that there is a system of laws that is supposed to protect the due process of those people.
Yeah.
And that has to matter.
I am angry about that.
What society
There are black people and women who didn't get due process. I don't know why the Democrats are not angry about that. Because they're not citizens. We do not owe them the same thing. It has to mean something to be an American.
You were saying, essentially, that you don't like the way that the law is applied in this instance, and you would like to change it, which is fine.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying every other district judge has ruled in Trump's favor.
That is absolutely not true. That is not true. No other judge, let me clarify this, this is important. No other judge, has issued an opinion on this specific issue.
Yes, they've not ruled against it.
No. What the Supreme Court said was the judge that it was in front of did not have the authority to make this decision. It wasn't in the right district, so he sent it to Texas. This is the first judge that's ruled on this actual case of whether or not this rule or this law applies. The Enemies Aliens Act. And they said it does not apply. This is the first time that we've seen other federal judges have issued provisional orders on this issue of whether and how, but really specifically how. What is how? Trump administration. Parts again.